Hi, this is William from Great Affordable Watches, and today I'm going to review the AVI-8 Hawker Hurricane. This is the Battle of Britain model, and it's a limited edition version, limited to 1963 pieces, and that is based on the number of planes or number of aircrafts that was participating in the Battle of Britain. That's a pretty cool reference to that battle. And as many AVI-8 watches, they seem to have some kind of reference to the Second World War or wars in general, so that's pretty interesting. And as always, we're gonna start off with the specifications. And the case size is 43 millimeters in diameter. The case thickness is 12 millimeters. The lug width is 20 millimeters. The lug-to-lug length is around 52 millimeters, I think. And I didn't find any information about the crystal, so I guess it's mineral crystal with anti-reflective coating, as we can see. But this may be a sapphire crystal, so let me know down in the comments if you know what kind of crystal this is. The movement in this watch is the Miura 8215, and this is a great workhorse movement, but it's not very pretty. It does have a airplane inspired rotor, so that's pretty cool. I would have preferred a solid case back instead of a see-through case back, because even though it's a decent workhorse movement from Citizen, it's not very pretty, so I don't really want to see it. But as I said, it's pretty cool with the custom rotor of a airplane. The watch is water resistant down to 5 ATM, and as this is not a dyer's watch, this is a pilot inspired watch, that's pretty standard. And of course the case is PVD coated, and I've not picked up any scratches yet, but it will be very interesting to see how the coating holds up in the long run. But as it stands now, it have held up pretty nicely in these weeks I've had this watch. Okay, let's start with the dial. The dial is vintage inspired, and the dial design is based on the iconic design of the RAF aircraft, and the hands are also inspired by the rotors or the propeller of that particular aircraft. And I must say I really like the color they have went for. It's a great balance between vintage and not overly vintage, so that's definitely a big plus in my opinion. And also the hands with the vintage loom and the red tips looks really good in my opinion as well. But I would have preferred a more cleaner dial layout without the raised parts and the stripes. I know it's inspired by a plane, but I would have preferred a more clean and cleaner looking dial, as I think the markers and the loom, as I said, is very good looking, but the dial is a bit too much for my liking. But I bet many people will like it and find it very interesting, which it is, and I've never seen this kind of layout before, so that's definitely interesting. And I do like that watch manufacturers try and make something more unique than going with the simplest route. And sometimes they succeed, sometimes they don't, but I still think it's very interesting. Something I really like as well is the date at 6 o'clock. I think that's the place the date should sit or should be placed. That adds to the symmetry of the dial, which I really like. The case is got a PVD coating and a brush looking surface. It's a very simple, and it got almost no finishing at all, which is a bit of a shame in my opinion. It would be nice to see some kind of chamfering or some nice finishing on the edges here, so that's a bit of a shame. But overall the case is still of pretty decent quality, and it feels solid overall. I must say I really like the crown. It feels very solid, very vintage and pilot inspired. and there is almost no wobble in the crown, which I really like. The stem is kind of hefty, which is always a nice thing to see. The watch came on a one-piece leather strap, almost like a NATO, and it looks good. The colors are great, and the colors really match the watch, and especially the dial, as we can see. But it's a pretty thick watch. Watches with older Japanese movements tend to be a bit thicker, unfortunately. So I switched this to a Autodromo racing strap. It's not the perfect fit, but it was still better than the added thickness this watch provides. So I would definitely recommend picking a two-piece strap instead of a single piece if you're gonna buy this watch. And about the movement as I said is the 8215, and for the price of £330, I would like to see a better movement than this. They could have gone for the Miura 1915. That movement is a bit thinner and a lot better looking, and it beats at 28,800 bph. And they could have went for that one instead of the basic 8250, especially for this price. So that's a big negative in my opinion. But overall, I think the watch looks good, and I think the dial, I really like the dial, especially the indices. I think that looks, I think they look really nice, and the hands look nice as well. And as I said, I would have liked a more clean looking dial, but it's still a very interesting dial that is executed pretty nicely, but it won't be to everybody's liking. And of course, I'm gonna do a wrist shot so we can see how this watch looks on the wrist. So I'll be right back. Okay, here it is, and as we can see, I think it sits quite nicely on my wrist. It's a bit too big for my preference, but I don't think it's too big. As we can see, the lugs don't overhang the wrist, so that's a good indication that the watch is not too big. If the lugs overhang your wrist, that's an indication that the watch is a bit too big for your wrist. For preference, I got a 7-inch wrist. I think the watch looks pretty solid. I think I like the vintage inspired dial and the indices together with the PVD coated case. I think that matches quite nicely. And overall, this is a solid watch. I can't really complain about the quality except for the movement choice and the pretty boring case. But other than that, this is a pretty simple watch, pretty plain watch except for the dial. And for the price, I think the price is just too high for what you're getting. Even though the quality is decent or even good, I think the price for the whole package is a bit too much, and this is a limited edition version, but it's still too expensive in my opinion. If they have gone for a more reasonable price of, for example, $200+ under 300 at least, I think this would be a great choice and a solid option if you're looking for something more, if you're looking for a more unique looking pilot watch with a pretty unique dial. Then it would have been easy to recommend it, but now when it's this expensive, it's kind of hard to recommend this watch. As you could get a Hamilton in this price range, you could get something with a better movement. But if you really like the look of this watch, it is pretty unique when it comes down to the dial. I think this is still a decent option, and you won't get the worst quality. You will get pretty good quality and a decent movement that will last over a decade without servicing, hopefully. Because Citizen Miura 8250 is a true workhorse like the Seiko 7S26. So, what do you guys think about this watch? Do you like the dial, or would you prefer a more clean and simple dial? Do you think the price is too high for what you're getting? And just let me know what you think about this watch overall down in the comments. Would love to hear your opinions about this watch. And if you like this video, please leave a like, and if you want more watch related content, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye.